Today in this video we will learn how to multiply polynomials. Let's say first example we have is 7x times 2x plus y. First we'll distribute and we multiply 7x times 2x, and then we multiply 7x with y plus 7x times y. So we get 7x times 2x, that is 14x square, because when the variables multiply with each other, we simply add the exponents together. So 1 plus 1 is 2, so we get x square plus 7x times y, that is 7xy. And that is our final answer for this one. Let's take a look at another example. We have 5x times x plus 4y is equal to, again we will distribute 5x times x plus 5x will multiply with 4y, so 5x times 4y, and we get over here 5x square plus 5 times 4 is 20, x times y is xy, and this is our final answer. Okay, let's take a look at some another example with multiple variables inside the parenthesis. So let's say we have a negative 2y in the parenthesis. We are multiplying it with 4y square plus 3y minus 5. So first we'll distribute it. We'll multiply negative 2y times 4y square. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Y times y square, again we'll just simply add the exponents together, so 1 plus 2 is 3. Then we will multiply negative 2 y times 3y, so negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Y times y is y square, and the last one is negative 2y times negative 5, so we get negative 2 times negative 5, we get plus 10 y, and there is no variable with 5, so simply y. And this is our final answer. We did this with skipping one step. Basically, instead of writing 2y times 4y square, we just simply did it together. Okay, let's take a look at another example. Uh, so we have, let's say, negative 3. Well, let's change the color. Okay, so we have negative 3y times 5y square plus 8y minus 7. So go ahead and pause the video and try to do this problem by yourself by looking at this example over here. Okay, so let's do it together, and I hope you were able to do at least one step. So first we have negative 3y times 5y square. So negative 3 times 5 is negative 15, and y times y square is simply y cube. And then the next step is negative 3y times positive 8y. So negative 3 times 8 is negative 24, and y times y is y square. And the last one, 7 doesn't have any variable, so negative 3 times negative 7, that is positive 1, positive 21, and negative 3y is y variable, just simply we write this like that. Okay, so this is our final answer for this, and let's take a look at a few more examples before we move further. Okay, so over here we have 2x cube times a times x square minus minus 8x plus 1. So this time the variable in the front, they already have power of 3, which is a cube. So let's do this together, and we get, for the first one, 2x cube times x square, we get 2. And remember, when the variables multiply with each other, we simply add the exponents power together. So x cube times x square, it is x to the power of 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. And the next one is, we have 2x cube times 8 negative 8x. So 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. X cubed times x is x to the power of 4, because 3 plus 1 is 4. And the last one is 2x cubed plus 1 times 1. So we simply write it as it is, and this is our final answer. So remember, when exponents are multiplied with each other, their power are simply added together. So if there's a variable which is x uh, times x to the power of 6 times x to the power of 9, we can simply write it like x to the power of 6 plus 9, which is x to the power of 15. Okay, let's try one more with a negative number in the front of the problem. It is negative 6a cube times 3a square negative 2a plus 6. Okay, so again, we will first distribute it, negative 6a cubed, and we'll multiply it with 3a square. That gives us 18. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. A cube times a square. Remember, a cube times a square is the same thing as a to the power of 3 plus 2, which is a to the power of 5. So we get negative 18 a to the power of 5. Next one, we have negative 6a cube times negative 2a. So negative 6 times negative 2, it is positive 12, and then a cube times a, we get a to the power of 4. 3 plus 1 is 4, and the last one is negative 6a cube times positive 6. So negative 6 times 6, that is negative 36, and 6 doesn't have any variable over here, so we'll simply write a cube at the end over here, and this is our final answer. Okay, so let's try some different set of problem, which is basically multiplying a binomial by a binomial, which is let's see, we have y plus 5 times y plus 8. So in a problem like this, first we will distribute y will multiply with the set over here, and the 5 will multiply with everything in this parenthesis. So first we have y times y plus 8, and then we'll have plus 5 will multiply with this parenthesis, y plus 8. So we will now multiply y times y is y square, then y times 8 is positive 8y, and then we have now 5 times y, we get 5y, and the last one is 5 times 8, which is 40. And now we can simplify the like terms together, which is 8y and 5y. So we get y square plus 13y plus 40. Okay, so this is our final answer. Let's take a look at another problem to better understand it. So now we have uh, let's say we have 2y plus 5 times 3y plus 4. And now we'll do the same thing. 2y will multiply it with the whole parenthesis over here, and then we'll multiply it with 5 again. Okay, so let's say we have 2y times 3y plus 4, and then the 5 comes over here, plus 5 in the parenthesis, 3y plus 4, and now we get 2y times 3y, which is 2 times 3 is 6, y times y is y square, and then we'll multiply 2y times 4. 2 times 4 is 8 in the y variable, and then we'll multiply 5 times 3, which is 15, and the 3 is variable y at the end, and 5 times 4, which is 20. And now we just have to combine these two like terms together, and we get 6y square plus 23y plus 20. Okay, so this is our final answer. I hope you were able to understand it. So in the next problem, we'll do something different, which will have a negative sign in the second parenthesis. So step by step, as long as you follow along, you will understand the problems. So next we have 4y plus 3. It is being multiplied with 2y minus 5. So what is the first step, at least you can tell me, uh, to solve this problem? So go ahead and pause the video before you see the problem, and we'll solve it together. Okay, so I hope you were able to get to this step at least, where we multiply 4y with the whole parenthesis terms over here, which is 2y negative 5, and then we'll do the same thing with 3, so plus 3 times 2y minus 5. So again, we have 4y times 2y, 4 times 2 is 8, y times y is y square, and now we have to multiply 4y times a negative number, negative 5. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20, and the y variable, we simply write it as it is, and then we have 3 times 2y, so we get 6y, and positive 3 times negative 5, so that is negative 15. So as long as we have any like terms, we will keep on simplifying the problem further. So we have negative 20y plus 6y. This is the only like term over here. So we will simplify them. 8y square, negative 20 plus 6, which is negative 14, and y variable at the end, and negative 15. And this is our final answer for this one. So how about you pause the video and try the next problem by yourself. At least do the next step if you can. 5y plus 2 times 6y negative 3. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and then come back and look at the solution. So first we multiply 5y with the second set of parentheses, which is 5y times 6y negative 3 plus 2 in the parentheses 6y minus 3, and then we will simply solve them. 5y times 6y, which is 30y square, 5 times negative 3, 5y, 5 times negative 3, it is negative 15, and y, and then 2 times 6 is 12y, 2 times negative 3, which is 6. So we will look for the variables which are similar like terms, which is over here, negative 15y plus 12y, and we will solve them. So we get 30y square, negative 15 plus 12, which is -3, and y variable at the end, and -6. And this is our final answer. So if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and any recommendation, don't forget to comment down below, and have a great day. Bye.